Picture two IELTS candidates sitting down to write the same task 2 essay. Both have similar English abilities. One of them finishes with a band score they are happy with. The other finishes feeling frustrated without understanding why their scores stayed the same. The difference isn't always ability. It can be a set of small mistakes that quietly pull your score down, even when your English itself is strong. Most candidates repeat these mistakes without realizing it, essay after essay. Candidates who score high approach tasks too differently. They know which mistakes to avoid. They use smart strategies, which include checking their essay against these mistakes before submitting it. We've helped thousands of students prepare this way through our IELTS packages. With clear steps and strategic preparation, they've turned confusion into confidence. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 mistakes that stop candidates from reaching Band 7 or higher in Writing Task 2. By the end, you'll know what to watch out for. This is one part of what it takes to write a stronger essay. Mistake number 1 is not answering every part of the question. This is one of the most common reasons candidates lose marks in Writing Task 2, and it happens more often than you might think. Every Writing Task 2 question contains more than one instruction. For example, a question might ask you to discuss both views and give your own opinion. Another question might ask you to give the causes of a problem and suggest solutions. If you only answer part of the question, you cannot score high in the task response category. Task response looks at how completely and directly you address every part of the question. It also measures how well you develop your position throughout the essay. Before you start writing, read the question carefully and underline every instruction it contains. Make a short plan that includes a section for each instruction. If the question asks for causes and solutions, make sure your essay includes both. If it asks you to discuss both the views and give your own opinion, make sure your opinion is clear throughout the essay, not only in the conclusion. Many candidates write a strong essay about the general topic, but forget to answer the exact question asked. This can happen when the topic feels familiar. Read the question again after you finish planning. Check that every part of it is covered in your plan. A useful habit is to write a short checklist next to your plan, based on the specific instructions in the question. Once you finish writing, look back at your essay and tick off each instruction one by one. If any instruction is missing, add a sentence or two before you move on. This simple check can help you avoid one of the most common reasons candidates lose marks in this section, even when their writing is otherwise strong. The second mistake is failing to state a clear position in the introduction. Many candidates write a general introduction that explains the topic, but never actually says what they think. This creates a problem for the examiner because your position needs to be clear from the beginning of the essay. State your opinion directly in your introduction. Use a clear sentence that says whether you agree, disagree, or support one side of the argument. Then keep this position consistent throughout your essay. Some candidates start their essay agreeing with one side and then contradict themselves later in the body paragraphs. This can create confusion and can lower your task response score. Your position doesn't need to be complicated. A short, direct sentence works well. For example, an essay might include a sentence like this: while there are some benefits to this approach, I believe the disadvantages are more significant. This tells the reader where you stand before you explain your reasons. Keep checking your position as you write each paragraph. Ask yourself whether the point you're making supports the opinion you stated in the introduction. If it doesn't, either remove that point or rewrite your position statement so that it includes it. It also helps to restate your position using different words in your conclusion. This shows the examiner that your argument has stayed consistent from beginning to end. Avoid introducing a new opinion in the conclusion. The conclusion is the place to summarize what you've already argued, not the place to introduce fresh ideas. Mistake number 3 involves how you organize your paragraphs. Many candidates write long paragraphs that include several different ideas without a clear focus. This makes it hard for the examiner to follow your argument. It also affects your coherence and cohesion score. Coherence and cohesion look at how clearly your ideas are organized and how well you connect them using linking words and other cohesive devices. Each body paragraph should focus on one main idea. Start with a topic sentence that introduces this idea clearly. Follow it with an explanation, then support it with a specific example. Finally, add a sentence that shows how this point relates to your overall position. Don't try to fit too many ideas into a single paragraph. If you find yourself introducing a completely new idea partway through a paragraph, that idea probably belongs in its own paragraph instead. Use linking words such as furthermore, however, and as a result to guide the reader through your argument. This shows the examiner that you can organize your ideas logically. It can also help to read your paragraph back to yourself once you've finished it. Ask yourself whether it focuses on one main idea from start to finish. If you notice 2 separate ideas competing for attention, split the paragraph into 2. Give each idea the space it needs to be explained properly. A clear paragraph structure makes your essay far easier to follow. It also shows the examiner that your ideas are organized, not just written down in the order they came to mind. Now, here is an important point. Many IELTS candidates think that knowing common IELTS writing mistakes is enough to achieve a strong result, but it is not enough. To do well in IELTS writing, you need to understand what the examiner is looking for. For example, you need to use advanced grammar correctly and understand what makes a high-scoring answer. That's exactly what we teach in our IELTS packages. Our students get step-by-step guidance on how to give strong answers, so they feel confident and ready on test day. They learn how the IELTS examiners assess their performance and what they need to do to meet the scoring criteria. Our IELTS packages include lessons for all tasks, sample answers, practice tests, and much more. Click the link below to learn more. Let's move on. Here's a mistake that many candidates don't realize they're making until it costs them marks: memorizing entire essays for common topics and reproducing them in the test. Some candidates write and memorize several essays before their test, then try to fit one of these essays to whatever question comes up. Examiners are trained to recognize memorized essays, and this can seriously limit your score across every criterion, especially task response. Task response looks at how well your essay responds to the exact question you were given, not to a similar question you prepared in advance. There's an important difference between memorizing an entire essay and using templates with sentence starters. Templates with sentence starters, such as phrases you use to introduce your opinion or begin a body paragraph, are fine to prepare in advance and use in your test. These give you a reliable structure and a starting point for your sentences, without limiting how you respond to the actual question. A memorized essay, on the other hand, has fixed content and ideas from the start. It often doesn't match the specific question in front of you. When you use a memorized essay, your ideas and examples often don't relate closely enough to the question that's actually asked. This can lower your task response score, even if your grammar and vocabulary are strong. It can also sound scripted to the examiner, since memorized essays often include the same sentences as those used in other candidates' essays. Instead of memorizing complete essays, learn a flexible structure for your essay. Practice a range of sentence starters for different sections, such as your introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Then apply your own ideas to whichever question you actually receive. This keeps your writing original while still giving you a reliable way to start each part of your essay. Mistake number 5 is relying on the same simple sentence structures throughout your essay. Many candidates write mostly short, simple sentences because these feel safer and easier to control. However, this limits your grammatical range and accuracy score. Grammatical range and accuracy assesses the range of grammar you use and how accurately and appropriately you use it. Use a mix of simple, compound, and complex sentences throughout your essay. Include structures such as conditional sentences, relative clauses, and sentences with subordinate clauses. Don't just write, "The government should invest in public transport. This would reduce traffic congestion." Instead, try, "If the government invests in public transport, this could help reduce traffic congestion." You don't need to use complex grammar in every single sentence. A mix of sentence lengths and structures sounds more natural than a string of complex sentences one after another. Practice using a few grammar structures you feel confident with, such as conditionals or relative clauses. Look for natural places to include them in your essay. Accuracy matters just as much as range. Using a complex sentence with a grammar mistake in it can hurt your score more than using a correct simple sentence. Practice a small number of complex structures until you feel confident using them accurately, then gradually build up your range from there. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like, and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. The 6th mistake is not developing your ideas with enough explanation and examples. Many candidates state an idea but don't explain why it's true or give a specific example to support it. This makes your argument feel incomplete and it affects your task response score. For every point you make, explain the reasoning behind it, then support it with a specific example. Don't just state that something is beneficial or harmful. Explain how or why it has this effect. Then give an example from real life, from a country you know about, or from a situation that illustrates your point clearly. Don't just write, "Technology has changed education." Instead, try, "Technology has changed education because students can now access information instantly through online resources, which was not possible a generation ago." This second sentence explains the reasoning and gives the reader a clearer picture of your point. Aim to develop 2 or 3 main ideas in depth throughout your essay, rather than listing many ideas without explaining any of them. A smaller number of well-developed ideas can help you score higher than a long list of points that are never fully explained. A helpful structure for developing an idea fully is to move from a general statement to an explanation of why it's true, and then to a specific example. This gives your paragraph a clear sense of progression. It also shows the examiner that you can support your argument with more than a single sentence. Here's a mistake that many candidates don't realize they're making until it's too late: running out of time before finishing the essay. When this happens, candidates either miss the conclusion entirely or write a rushed one that doesn't summarize their argument properly. This makes your essay feel incomplete. It can also affect your task response and coherence and cohesion scores. Plan your time before you start writing. Spend some time reading the question and planning your ideas. Then divide the rest of your time between your body paragraphs and your conclusion. Leave enough time at the end to write a short conclusion that restates your position and summarizes your main points. If you notice that time is running out while you're still writing your second body paragraph, it's better to shorten that paragraph and move on than to skip the conclusion completely. A short conclusion is better than no conclusion at all, because it shows the examiner that your essay is complete. Practicing under timed conditions before your test can help you build a sense of how much time each part of your essay takes. This can help you feel more confident about pacing yourself on test day. If you find that you regularly run out of time, look closely at where the time is going. Some candidates spend too long planning, while others spend too long on their first body paragraph and rush through the rest. Once you know where your time disappears, you can adjust your approach and practice pacing yourself more evenly across the whole essay. These 7 mistakes are some of the most common reasons candidates get stuck below Band 7+. In Writing Task 2, even when their English is strong, the good news is that each of them can be corrected with focused practice. Read the question carefully, plan before you write, and check your grammar and vocabulary range as you go. Small, consistent changes to how you approach this task can make a real difference to your score over time. Try working through one mistake at a time in your next few practice essays, rather than trying to fix everything at once. Once a habit starts to feel natural, move on to the next one. Over time, these small adjustments can add up to a noticeable improvement in how your essays are marked. That's it! These are 7 mistakes for IELTS Writing Task 2. If you want expert guidance for your IELTS preparation, check out our IELTS packages using the link below. Our packages include step-by-step guidance, sample answers, practice tests, and other useful resources to help you feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their IELTS score too. See you in the next video!